My first guest, I only met briefly to say hello backstage. She is a lovely lady and a fine artist, has made some remarkable motion pictures. She's also written a very revealing book about her life. I think it's just coming out very soon, if it's not released already. It's written by her and A.E. Hotchner, called Sophia, Living and Loving. And it's a great kick to welcome her tonight. Would you welcome Sophia Loren? It's so nice to meet you.
Thank you.
Really. I have something for you. Now, I hope you don't think this is forward. We just met. And I know when you grew up in Italy, there are old family customs and so forth, but is it too forward to buy you a little gift?
A little one, yes.
Sure. Just a little. You can open it. There's a note with it, and I think you'll understand what it's about. You can want to open it first? All right, and then so the audience will understand. Can you read that?
Huh?
Which word? R-E-D, red.
I do.
Good? Yeah. Okay. You said you do, but I thought just in case you forgot.
Oh, very sweet.
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, now, you see, I want you to understand it may be a little presumptuous. Now...
Should I wear it?
No, you don't have to wear it. I didn't mean that you have...
Put it here.
Is that where you put it? Yeah. Okay, and then we'll explain why and what it's about. Yeah. Now for the big gift. Now, you should explain so the audience knows why I got you this. You said in your book, if I remember, in one of the chapters...
Yes. Since I was born, I always wear with me something red because it brings me luck.
You said every day of your life, something...
Every day of my life.
You wear red, whether it is seen or unseen, you wear something red.
Yeah.
So I figured maybe if you forgot, I would bring you a little something. Now, you see, you did it, right?
That's for you.
No, come on now.
That's for you.
Really?
Yes.
Is this good stuff in here? Oh, salt. Oh. Well, for a moment, Sophia, we were in trouble. Well, that's very nice. That's for good luck, isn't it?
Yes.
That's for good luck. Well, thank you. That's nice. How are you?
Fine, thank you.
Now, can I try a little of my Italian? I know very little Italian.
How come you married with an Italian?
You're right. You met my wife, Joanna. Her name was Johanna Scalia.
Giovanna.
Johanna. I guess it used to be with the H. Johanna Scalia.
Oh.
But...
Sounds very... Johanna.
Yeah. Now, if I say to you, then they say...
Eh?
Ancora bona. Then they say ancora bona.
Come?
Ancora bona.
Ancora bona.
Means nothing at all to you.
Well, it depends if you speak slang.
What would...
Is it slang?
Might be. What, did I say something terrible?
No, very nice. Very flattering for a woman. Ancora bona in slang means still very...
Terrific. You look terrific, right?
Yes.
Yeah, well, that's okay. I'm one ahead. And obviously you are not anymore what they called you when you were a young child. Stuzzicadente?
Yeah, stuzzicadente.
Stuzzicadente.
Mm-hmm.
Believe it or not, before you were, 14 and a half, when you were a young girl, they called you stuzzicadente, which means toothpick.
Toothpick, yes.
Yeah. And it
surprises you.
It surprises me because you are living proof that
because you look at me now, you shouldn't look at me then.
Were you really skinny? A toothpick?
Sure. But I was skinny because you shouldn't laugh about that. I had nothing to eat.
I know that. You know, I am really surprised when I read your book. I read the whole book last night, that you managed to survive at times in your childhood. Because you were there during the war. How do you pronounce the name of your original hometown?
Pozzuoli.
Pozzuoli.
Yes.
Then you went from there to Naples.
Yes.
You said, which was even worse at that time.
Mm-hmm.
And spent most of the hours hiding in tunnels and dodging bombs.
Because of the bombing and because of the bombings in the tunnels, yes.
Yeah. That comes out a lot in your book later, especially when you talk about making the picture Two Women, in which you call back on a lot of those memories during the war to play that particular...
Yeah, I mean, it was very helpful for me that little treasure that you carry within yourself since your childhood and what I suffered during the war. So when I made Two Women, it really brought me back to the time of my really early childhood, and how can you say?
You try to
Revivere,
relive.
relive whatever I suffered during the bombing of
Right.
the war.
Was it painful writing those particular chapters? To go back and have to search out those days?
Well, it's always very painful when you write about yourself and when you write about your childhood, when you write about war, when you write about hunger, when you write about poverty. It's not easy. At times it can be really very, very painful.
Right. Did you find anything out about writing your book? Because people who've written their autobiography before have told me at times it is like going through analysis. It's very revealing because you have to dig into your past.
It's true because you really dig into your past and you discuss your life and you analyze it very deeply. And then you really free your soul from so many, burdens.
Right.
And going through my past, I really must say that I freed myself of many ghosts.
In other words, writing the book
many
served a
ghosts.
purpose
Yes.
for you. That's fascinating. We'll come back and discuss some of the specifics in the book in just a moment. We have to cut away for a commercial. We'll be right back. When you were a little girl, your mother, who was a beautiful lady, magnificent pictures in the book, at one time won a Greta Garbo contest, and she wanted to come to America, and your grandmother, I guess, just absolutely refused to permit that. Did they feel that that was completely foreign and she'd be taken advantage of?
No, I don't know. There were some stories that were running in the Italian papers at the time that the Black Hand would come over and maybe grab my mother and just make her disappear, as they made disappear Rodolfo Valentino.
That's what your grandmother thought, right?
That's my, yeah.
Yes.
So my mother was a very innocent girl from a little town like Pozzuoli. She said, of course, I'm never going there because I don't want to be killed. I don't want to disappear. I want to make my own living in a little town. And so I stay here with you.
Maiden name was Villani, right?
Villani. Yes.
Do you think she ever regretted, you bring that out in your book later, that and even your mother says in the book, that she kind of has lived her life through you, everything that's happened to you, your mother might have wished happened to her, because she really, in a way, was got you started and took you around.
She's my mother. I don't think, I'm sure she doesn't have any resentment.
No, I didn't read any resentment.
Towards me, you know. I think that she's very happy to live her life through me. And it's, she has less responsibilities anyway.
Right.
Because I'm responsible for everything.
I get the feeling from reading the book that you are basically a shy person inside.
It shows?
No, I just get the feeling that you're a very private person.
Yes.
And that when you perform, as you said, you find it very difficult to rehearse. But when the cameras roll, then you become a performer. But without the cameras, you feel somewhat awkward and can lose yourself once you start to perform.
Yes, because I think that when I rehearse, I'm not at all the character I'm playing, and I have some reserves still, and I have some inhibitions.
Right.
But when I start to play and when the camera is rolling, I have to give the best I can because it's the last time anyway. So
Right.
I better go very deep into it, and I just go. Yes, it's true.
Yeah. Are you uncomfortable if you walk into a room, a lot of people that you don't know? You mentioned
yes,
that.
I can fall down very easily.
Yeah, I have that feeling. I'm comfortable with small groups of
And
people.
many times I've fallen down.
Have you really?
Yes,
Do you go
yes.
and hide in a corner? I mean, when you see a lot of strangers around you and you feel comfortable.
Oh, no. I just pretend I feel fine, but no, I never hide.
But you pretend you are comfortable, even though you're
I
not.
pretend I'm comfortable, sure. What else?
Well, I mean, I can't do that. I really skulk
But
over in
now
a corner
I'm
and
very
sit down.
uncomfortable with
Are you
you.
uncomfortable with
why?
me?
You know why?
I don't want you to be.
No, because I didn't write anything about you in my book.
Well, that was damn unfair.
And that's
I will forgive you. I will be magnanimous tonight and forgive you for that. Well, you had too many other interesting people to write about. You wrote about Marcello Mastroianni.
It's really unforgivable.
It's really unforgivable? Well, in your next book, would you maybe include a little paragraph of me in there?
A good one.
A good one?
A good one.
But you probably don't know much about me at all.
I may know about you later on.
If you play your cards right, you will.
I'm a very good poker player.
You're a good poker player.
Very good.
And a good Scrabble player.
A very good one.
And a good Scrabble player.
I'm quite very quick.
Yeah. Now,
So, be careful.
I will. Okay. Now, talking about being shy, I think a lot of performers, strangely enough, and the average people who sit out and watch entertainers would not think that for a moment. Many entertainers are usually introverts, and a lot of them are. They come alive when they're in front of an audience, feel very comfortable, but kind of like their privacy. And what intrigues me, you and Carlo both, say, as you say in the book, are internationally recognizable people. You want your privacy. And this is kind of one of those ambivalent things about being a performer. You worked to become famous, to be in front of the public, and then once you become famous,
you have to fight for
you
your
pay certain penalties for that.
Yes.
You can't go any place without the newspapers, the photographers, printing innuendos
But
sometimes.
that's a nice way to pay.
Yeah, you don't mind that.
No.
Yeah.
No, I don't mind that at all. I mean, if you really don't have so much to hide, I don't mind it at all. I live a very normal life. I'm married with my husband, everybody knows. I have 2 children, and I have nothing to hide, really.
Yeah.
Sometimes when they interfere in your private life, in the sense that they invent things about your private life.
No, they have done that, have they?
Then it's a little bit disappointing.
What is the worst thing that they have ever invented that really hurts you, that you really resented? Or would you tell me?
Oh, many stories about our marriage going to pieces, because they always make it very big.
Right.
That's what upsets me. Because I think the base of my life is my marriage and my family and my children. And if somebody writes something about my marriage going apart, just breaking, it's something that upsets me.
In other words, you don't mind personally what the critics say, although you may not like it about your work as an actress. It's when they attack you personally or the family that...
Well, critics can write anything they want about my work because
That's their
they
job.
have the right. It's their own job to judge you. Huh?
Right.
But when they attack you on your private life, I don't think that's fair
Right.
at all.
Do you think you would ever have been as happy because somebody, I don't know if it was your sister or somebody in the book when they were interviewed, said, I think Sophia would have been just as happy becoming a school teacher in her hometown as she would have becoming a major international star.
I don't think
You
so.
don't think so? It's more fun this way?
I think it's fun this way, yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I enjoy every moment of it.
You have 2 children.
And for me, it's still a dream,
Really, is it?
Yeah, I can't get accustomed to the idea that I'm still very well known, that I still work, and that I can still do things, and that still people love me.
Yeah. Does the over-attentiveness, you mentioned that in the book, sometimes it makes you feel awkward, that there's an over-attentiveness when you go out that makes you feel a little bit awkward. Yeah. You took your children to Disneyland the other day, somebody said.
Disney World.
Disney
Yes.
World? Did you like that?
They took me to Disney
They took
World.
you. I think adults do that sometimes. They say,
They
why don't we
took
go
me
to
to
Disneyland or
Disney
Disney
World.
World, kids? When you want to go yourself.
Yes. We had really a wonderful time.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful place.
Do you find going around and giving interviews easy to do? Are there questions that you prefer that people don't ask you?
Yes. Yes. I don't tell you what they are,
Yeah.
of course.
But there would be questions that,
There would be questions that I don't like to be asked.
that you just
yes.
might say, I would prefer not to talk
Yes,
about that.
Yes. But not when everybody's listening.
In other words, you would tell me if I asked you privately, but you wouldn't do it in front of
You're
of a
not.
national audience? But I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't ask you something
I
that would
know.
embarrass you, I don't think.
Everybody's been telling me that you are a very nice person. And I could trust you 100%. And I know I can.
I don't know who you've been talking to.
I know I can. To your wife. Have you talked to your wife?
Ah, yes, yes. Well, that's true. Whatever she says is absolutely true. Absolutely true. Italian girls are known for the truth, right?
Yes, yes, absolutely.
You had a chapter in your book about, it was a very scary point to you and kind of changed your priorities of things that were important to you when you were in New York at one time. You were robbed in a hotel there, which has to be a frightening experience for anybody. An armed gunman came in, demanding some jewels and so forth. And you said from that moment on, you realized that the material things, and I think your husband said an interesting thing. He says, you should never cry over anything that can't cry over you. Is that an accurate quote? DeSica said that?
DeSica said that, yes.
It's a wonderful comment, and it says a lot. In other words, and I think you said in that chapter you got rid of a lot of jewelry and things. We found that they weren't important because they were threatening your children
well,
at the time.
since then I have nothing to cry over to.
Well, there's
because I
material
don't have
things.
jewels anymore.
Yeah.
Finished. As a matter of fact, when I was in Houston just about 4 days ago, and I had a lot of fake jewels with me that were about $6,000, $8,000. It's a lot of money. Huh?
Those are pretty good fakes.
Mm-hmm. And when I arrived in Los Angeles and I started to unpack my suitcases, they were gone.
In other words, somebody had stolen the...
Everything. Everything I had. Everything.
What did they do? Steal it out of your luggage on the...
I don't know. If I knew, I would find out right away.
I mean, you mean
It
they
would be very simple
They
for
mean they disappeared between Houston?
No, in Houston. They
Oh, I see.
disappeared in Houston. I just went out from my room about an hour and a half to do a show, and I came back, and everything was fine, and I didn't look for my things. So I just closed my suitcases, and I flew back to Los Angeles. When I opened it and when I started to unpack, gone. Everything was gone.
Do you know how they do that in hotels?
They just pick it up and go away.
That's called the old pickup joke. No, for example...
Well, I'm Neapolitan, you know.
Yes, well, now, you see what happens. Somebody checks into a hotel room or a suite somewhere. They check out, and maybe they stay there a few days. They go have a key duplicated to that room. Then when they check out of the room, they wait for somebody to check in, maybe a week or so later. Then they go back to the hotel room with that key that they had made, and nobody ever thinks of that. And they simply just open the door and go in and help themselves.
It's terrible.
I think that's the way a lot of that happens.
And anyway, everything is vanished.
Yeah.
I was very sorry because, not for the value, because, I had been stolen things that were much worse than $6,000. But, each little jewels meant something to me, and they were very nice souvenirs.
Right. Are you going to write another book?
About the theft,
maybe
that I
or
had.
anything.
I had many of them.
Yeah. No, I
don't know.
It's a lovely book. You say an
really
awful lot of here. It's very enjoyable. And I thank you for coming tonight and talking about it. I hope you had a good time. Did you?
Marvelous time.
I had a marvelous time.
Marvelous time.
I'm glad you trust me.
Yes, I do. Completely.
I trust you, too. Thanks for coming.
Thank you.
We'll be right back in just a minute.